Obviously, just because I take calls every day from people who regret their vote to leave doesn't mean that it would necessarily have any significant impact upon a plebiscite. I just think people feel comfortable admitting it to me because, well, they're not going to get it screamed at and have sort of little bits of spit land on their face like they would if they admitted it to some other people. But the division now seems to be, in terms of democracy, what do you need? What do we need to know? Okay, I was reading yesterday about how the fact that we've now given notice to leave Euratom, the atomic energy overseer for the whole of the European Union, we've given notice to leave that. So we now need to get quite complicated deals and treaties in place in order to bring in the radioactive material that we need to treat cancer. And as I read it, it was written by a very respected academic. You can see it on my Twitter feed. As I read it, I found myself thinking, God, imagine if they'd pulled this out during the campaign. And he provided all the evidence, all the detail, all the statistical truth to make it a matter of fact. But could you imagine, despite it being a fact, what would have happened if during the BrExit campaign somebody had stood up and said, this will compromise our ability to treat cancer sufferers? But they would have absolutely had you for breakfast if you'd said that, even though it was true. That seems to me to be emblematic of some pretty big problems that we've still got. Because any fan of democracy now would say, we've got a referendum result, we have progressed with the decision to leave, and now we will come to you as a country and show you the best deal we can get. No deals off the table for as long as the DUP stay in bed with the Tories, because there's no earthly way that you can have a frictionless border with the European Union unless you've got a deal in place. All of this detail is... I mean, I find it strangely fascinating, but it's utterly, utterly absent from most people's understanding of whatever they mean by the word Brexit. No deal is better than a bad deal. Well, no deal would mean a hard border in Northern Ireland, something that the DUP are simply not going to put up with. They're also sort of prone to Remain leanings, that party, despite having some strange views in other areas. But you can't have a soft, friction-free border in Northern Ireland without a deal with the European Union, because the European Union are the other side of that border. What they'll do, people will stand up and say, these are the reasons why things are not going to go well. Cancer treatment, economic collapse, uncontrolled emigration, employee shortfalls, businesses struggling, all of that on one side, all demonstrable, all evidence-based, all factual. Other side, well, it's just a sort of drunk bloke shouting fish. And passports. The question facing Britain is how many people, how much longer are we going to continue listening to the drunk bloke shouting fish on the other side of the debate? Because if there is a good deal to be got, it needs to be got by the people that the civil service are currently struggling to hire. The negotiators who've never actually negotiated a trade deal, who will be sitting down with people who've spent their entire professional lives negotiating trade deals. At the end of that process, democracy demands that you come to the people and say, well, this is the best we're ever going to get. What do you think? You still up for it? And if we're still up for it, we're still up for it. If we're not still up for it, we slam on the brakes and return to where we were. And that shouldn't be controversial. So here are all the facts that were missing when we made our original decision. But when you see people getting spooked about a second referendum, or you hear people getting spooked about a possible shift in public feeling, what you're actually witnessing is people screaming that the public should not be allowed to see the facts. Do not let them see the facts. Do not show them the evidence. Get the bus, quick, get the bus. Do not let them see the facts. Do not let them hear from the experts that the country had had enough of. And that's where I've been for the last 6 months, is utterly baffled how people can simultaneously claim to be champions of democracy while demanding that the members of that democracy are not allowed to think anymore, or to change their mind, or to see the evidence. Don't let them see the evidence. Ignore the man behind the curtain. Just got all of these people who seem to treat it like a game. This is our children's future. This is our future. It's our economic security and our national security. All of these things are more uncertain than they've been for generations. And these people, particularly, I'm sorry, but particularly the rich ones, seem to think that it's some sort of game, seem to think that it's some sort of exercise in machination and secret communication, and I hate that. I despise that with all of my being. Labour Party people have done it as well. Labour Party people have done it in recent years. Labour Party people may well be doing it now, but they're not in government at the minute. The people who are actually in government seem to have spent certainly pretty much every day since the referendum result, working out new ways in which to prove the contempt in which they hold the British public while pretending that they're on the same side.